just want to say a few short words about Harold. He was a great friend. He was already a young man even before I was born. So it was a real blessing to have known him. Harold was born to Edward Appleyard and Mary Elizabeth Combs on October 20th, 1924 in Manchester, England. If we look on his birth certificate, we see Frederick Harold. So we are not quite sure how it became Harold Frederick. Harold had 3 siblings, Edward, May, and Alan. He was married to Dorothy and they had 4 children, Steve, Karen, Paula, and Michael. After the death of his wife Dorothy, he moved to Canada and in 1990 married Helen Mandresco. He was predeceased by his daughter Karen in 2004 and then his son Steve in 2015. His wife Helen has not been well for several years now, and Harold would go to visit her and make sure that she had all that she needed on almost a daily basis. He has 7 grandchildren. His son Steve's children, Romina, Mike, Rob, and Tammy, and his daughter Paula's children, James, Sam, and Hope. He has 7 great-grandchildren, Tammy's children, Rhea and Nicole, and Romina's children, Adam, James, Serena, Aaron, and Alana. Harold served in the British Merchant Navy during the war years and was a seaman for 40 years or so. My son-in-law will say a bit more about this in a few moments. Mavis and I first met Harold at Grace Church in 1999, and from that day forward, to quote Harold, every day was an adventure. It was not hard to love this man. With his infectious smile and sense of humor. There were many times I could not tell what he was telling me was fact or fiction, but then he would smile. Harold would talk to anyone, and even complete strangers, he would find something funny to say. One day we asked him if he had a driver's license, and within 2 seconds, with a straight face, he replied, "Driver's license? I was at sea for 40 years. Why would I need a driver's license?" Harold loved to ride a bike. You don't need a driver's license for that. And he never wanted a lift, and if you asked him why, he would just reply, "I want to get my money's worth from my bus pass." Just recently, he got on the bus at the beginning of the month and had not renewed his bus pass. The driver would not let him on unless he paid the fare, and even asked him to show identification so that he could get the seniors rate. Harold thought that was hilarious. Harold loved Grace Church and wanted to be a part of the ministries, even in a small way. Here are just a few. He was the only male member of the WMF group, which is Women's Missionary Fellowship. He never attended any meetings, but was the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, as he kept track of the penny pot and provided them with a total each month. He often reminisced about the weekend retreats we had with the kids up at the YFC or Youth for Christ camp. He always wanted to make sure the kids had a hot meal each day, but he wouldn't venture outside. Too many mosquitoes. One year, our Sunday school had a Fishers of Men contest. Whoever brought a friend for 3 weeks got a goldfish. Harold would go every day to the church to feed those fish so that they would still be alive on Sunday. He was one of the first volunteers making hot chocolate when we began our Halloween outreach. And he loved to sing, especially at Christmas when we had a choir. He loved it when Mr. Bob would come in the summer for our DVBS, or Daily Vacation Bible School. He would there be making the snacks and drinks for the kids and hot dogs and ice cream on the last day. His most favorite ministry, though, was coffee and chat on Thursdays. He could not wait for that day each week to arrive. He would get to the church early to make coffee, get crackers and cheese ready, read the scripture, and lock up at the end of the meeting. This is where we saw him grow in his faith and changes in his life. There's so much more we could say about Harold, but we would be here all day. It is enough to say that he was loved by many, made an impression on everyone, and surely we were blessed to have known him. Thank you, Harold, for your service to your country. Thank you for your service to Grace Church, and thank you for being a part of our lives. We love you and miss your smile and humor. In closing, one last note. Last Thursday, on April the 7th, the Coffee and Chat group decided to still get together, as that would have been what Harold would have wanted. And they just sat around and reminisced about all the good times they had with him. They were also saying farewell to one of the ladies who was moving away to the U.S. And Mavis had brought everyone a little package of Kleenex and had put a little quote from the Cat in the Hat on it. I can just hear Harold saying this. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Today is gone. Today was fun. Tomorrow is another one, but I'm going to change that a little bit. It's an adventure. One last thing. Last night, just to kind of show the impression that he made on people. Excuse me. A lady showed up. We didn't know who she was. And later we found out it was a cashier at the IGA store. And she came, one other person I guess had mentioned that Harold had passed away. And I'm not sure what nationality she was. I think maybe from South America. She didn't have, her English was not all that great, but she just came up and said, I had to come. I had to come and say goodbye. He always made it a point to talk to her. He would say she was his favorite cashier, and she just said he was such a gentleman. And that just goes to show the impression he made in people's lives.